think Bling Empire shows a rare and vulnerable perspective of a culture that generally is devoid of the emotion.
We're no different than any other human being.
Bling Empire means so much to me.
Bling Empire is easily one of the more unique shows that you'll find on the Netflix lineup, mainly because it's a show that full-on embraces the insanity of rich LA lifestyles and the people who have the money. The show focuses on Kevin Creeder, who goes to LA to pursue a new career and business and meets up with fellow Asian Americans and beyond and learns all about them, how rich they are, and so on. Season 1 has seemingly struck a chord with people, and so people are hoping for a Season 2. With that, allow us to show you everything we know about Bling Empire Season 2. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Number 8. Is there going to be a Season 2 at all? So let's get right to the big question that many people are likely to ask. Has the show officially been renewed yet? No, not at the time of this video, but the cast members have been dropping lots of hints about the show's return, which is obviously a very good sign. Because usually, cast members of shows like this or scripted shows would tease what could happen in Season 2 if they get renewed. But the Bling Empire crew seem to know something fans don't. Case in point, on January 25th, during a fan Q&A, Kelly Mee Lee said she was hoping that the show would start filming soon.
Hopefully COVID gets settled and we can shoot this year. I love these big parties that we throw, and with COVID it's gonna be really difficult.
Which sounds a lot to me like it's been commissioned, but the streaming giant is yet to publicly announce the news, which isn't too surprising as Netflix is honestly a bit slow to announce renewals, even if the show itself has done very well on the platform. Also adding to the speculation was producer Jeff Jenkins, who worked on Keeping Up with the Kardashians for 10 years, said there's no shortage of storylines when it comes to this cast. We just celebrated 14 years of Keeping Up with the Kardashians. I would love to take this cast even further, he told Town & Country. I mean, there's so much that has happened in their lives since Season 1 was shot. There's just so much going on. God willing, viewers enjoy it and respond. It's funny that he mentions Keeping Up with the Kardashians because that show is actually about to end in this very year. Finally. And that means there's going to be a bit of a vacuum for that kind of show, and that means Bling Empire could fill that void. Number 7. How the format will be different. It'd be very easy to go and look at Bling Empire and think that this is a very staged show, including how the people knew about each other and so on. But that's honestly not what happened here. As the show states, Kevin Creeder was adopted in Philadelphia by a family, and later on moved to Los Angeles to pursue a modeling and acting career, which meant he honestly didn't know anyone from the clique until he got there. Jenkins recently told Oprah Mag that Kevin was introduced to the group by Kelly a year before the camera started rolling.
Represent an Asian guy that a normal person can look up to.
That year gave Kevin this wonderful sandbox time of playing and getting to know everybody and getting to form his own opinions, his own attitudes, and his own friendships or rivalries, he said. Which obviously was a huge crux of the show in various facets. But with Season 2, now the question becomes how things will evolve since Season 1. Because now the newness of Kevin has worn off, if you will, and he's going to have new relationships, feelings, and more with these people. Not to mention, the success of the show is going to change everyone's outlook on things. So, if Season 2 does come to pass, it might well and truly have a different feel in some aspects. It'll still be Bling Empire, obviously, but how everyone interacts with each other might just be that little bit different. Number 6. Bombshells. Despite a renewal not being confirmed as of yet, the cast are already stating some things that are causing waves with fans. While speaking to OprahMag.com, Christine made it clear that she would be into filming for another season. "If you thought I dropped a big bomb in Season 1, then you have no idea," she told the outlet, while also sharing that her upcoming revelation would be timely in our climate and touch many lives. That's a very interesting statement to make, and with Christine being many things on the show, including filthy rich, being married to a well-known surgeon, and apparently being an heiress, this bombshell that she has is easily something that fans will want to know about ASAP if possible. Plus, that's just one bombshell that could happen on the show. who knows what else is going to happen with all the other cast members?
My hope in moving forward between Anna and I is that we focus our energy on things that matter more.
But of course, there is one other factor to consider. Number 5, the Pandemic Empire. Here's the thing, Bling Empire as a whole was filmed back in 2019, back when life was anything but restricted in terms of what you could do, the parties you could have, the places you could fly to on a whim, and so on. And then 2020 happened, and everything got mucked up, to the extent that even if Bling Empire came out in early 2020 and got renewed, it wouldn't have been shot until later in the year at the minimum because of the lockdown restrictions that were going on and are still going on. In fact, unlike certain other shows, Bling Empire has a very strict problem on them because they are based in Los Angeles, a place that has been spiking hugely in terms of the virus infection rate in recent months.
California is one of at least 8 states where a highly contagious variant of the virus has been discovered.
It got so bad that Hollywood had to shut down because of the dangers in the spiking numbers. This may be one of the reasons why Bling Empire hasn't been renewed yet, because if it is renewed, they need to make sure that they film safely, and yet still have a lot to show and talk about. Because remember, this is about how rich people live their lives. But in 2020, even for rich people, that was a restricted experience. Number 4, how the pandemic affected them. If a second season is done and filmed in 2021, a huge thing that all the people in the clique are going to talk about for sure is the pandemic and how it affected them.
Well, the global crisis is hurting business, but not all companies are losing money.
Because above all else, the clique, as it were, wasn't just made on inherited money, but business money. And businesses as a whole took a huge hit in 2020 because of everything shutting down. You can bet that some of the cast were heavily affected in one form or another, such as Dr. Gabriel Chu, who is the plastic surgeon husband to Christine. How was his business affected now that stars weren't on the regular coming into his parlor due to movies and TV shows coming down? Or how about Jersey Lee? He has a furniture empire, and you can bet that sales of that went down in 2020. We're not saying they'd be broke, but they would have been affected, and that will be a key thing to talk about in Season 2, should it happen. Number 3, the love triangle. Obviously, when you have so many people together, relationships are going to form. Some are friendships, some are business partnerships, and some are more than that. Fans left off Season 1 with Kelly Mee Lee, Kevin Creeder, and Andrew Gravy in the middle of an epic love triangle. According to what the show's executive producer Jeff Jenkins told Oprah, this is likely a storyline viewers will see played out in the future.
Stop looking at me like you want to kiss me and shit, you know?
I look at you like I think it's the other way around over here.
But how will it play out? Who will Kelly choose? What will happen to the other guy when they're not chosen? Has the past year affected the love triangle as a whole? These are the questions that many fans no doubt have and want answered. Number 2, new members? It's always a question when it comes to shows like this, how many people to bring into the fold. As noted earlier, Kevin was dropped into Los Angeles and the clique a year before filming.
So here, I don't have fancy jewelry. I'm not wearing designer clothes all the time. And it's just like, that's what makes me stick out.
But with 2020 having gone by, it's very possible that the Bling Empire cast has met new people. Obviously rich people as a whole, and would like them to be brought into the show. This wouldn't be a bad idea for the simple reason that the show will have more of a desire to expand their reach and bring in new faces to keep things fresh and exciting. Who we'll meet and what they're like will very much be up to the producers and such to determine who best fits the model of the show. Number 1, they're still rich. Let's make no bones about it. No matter what happens to the Bling Empire crew in 2020, they're still very rich and no doubt loving it. In fact, doing Bling Empire Season 2 might just be all the excuse they need to break loose and have the most fun they've had in over a year. We'll still see outrageous things from the cast, just like we did last season. And no doubt, that'll bring a lot of people joy. So what do you think? What do you think of this look at the various elements of Bling Empire and how Season 2 might honestly go and try to be bigger and more grandiose and even richer in terms of net worth than the previous season? What do you think about Bling Empire when you watched it? Or are you eager to try it out now that you've heard certain things about it? Let us know in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe, and we'll see you next time on the channel.